Hello everyone, my name is Doomsday.exe and welcome to my brand new series, TF2une-In. Today I'm going to be interviewing god-tier trader and YouTuber, PyroJoe. But before I get into the interview and the podcast itself, I want to thank two people. Firstly is Joe, because he's come on and he's been the first guest in this series that I'm going to be starting. And I'm very thankful for him to come on and I appreciate it a lot. And as you can see on your screen right now, there's a set made in SFM of my medic interviewing Joe, and this was created by a very talented SFM artist called TF2une-In. I urge you to go check out his work, his link will be in the description. He's an amazing guy, an amazing artist, so please I urge you to check him out. I couldn't have done this without these two people, and I think, without further ado, let's get into the interview. But Joe, with the long-rumoured Pyro update, how are you feeling about it? Are you pessimistic? Are you optimistic? What do you think?
I'd like to stay optimistic about it, really. Like, obviously, the expectations of Valve have really gone down recently. Yeah. Like, with past updates and stuff, I think it's safe to say that it's almost logical to assume the update's going to be bad. But I'm trying to stay positive about it, hoping a few sort of nice cosmetics will be released, maybe like a new unusual effect or something like that. Just something to sort of freshen up the game in terms of trading, and of course the new weapons that are released. You can find countless videos of people giving their ideas. I just think like they just need to add something refreshing. That's honestly what I think the game needs, something refreshing, maybe something to liven up the matchmaking as well, because obviously the matchmaking hasn't been as successful as I think Valve planned.
That's very true.
I think that's safe to say. I mean, I've played it before, like I've played it a couple of times, and the queue times are just atrocious. Like generally the people you find will either just not communicate at all, or just generally like will go off and do their own thing as sniper, or like a class that isn't commonly played on sixes. So like, I don't know, I just think they need to release something that just sort of revitalizes the game. But yeah, I'd like to stay optimistic about it in that aspect, definitely.
I think staying optimistic is always quite important, but as you said, Valve hasn't had a great track record recently, and we need to grin and bear it, I guess. Let's just hope that this is going to be good.
The last big update we had, I mean, obviously there was the whole issue with, I mean, it wasn't in its final form, I'd say, when it was released. There was a lot of bugs with it. And it took them a while to fix it, and while everyone was saying, it's a broken update, the matchmaking doesn't work, the queue times are atrocious, I think it's important just to wait with Valve and just let them do their own thing. If it results in, the update ending up good and fixed, I mean, I know, like, it should be released in its final form, and it should be released ready for everyone to use and fully functional. But if it isn't, I think it's not the best way to just kick up a fuss about it. Valve will like obviously acknowledge there's something wrong and fix it as quick as they can, but like spreading negativity about the update and really drawing like a negative stigma towards it isn't going to help matters at all. So I think it's important to stay positive in the update releases, definitely.
Yeah, I think if everyone seems to be more positive about the updates, like, yeah, new TF2 update, that's gonna be a lot better. So like, oh, another disappointment,
Yeah, I mean, it's important not to get your hopes up to the point where you will genuinely be disappointed, because that's when I feel like people will start leaving, if they pin all their hopes and dreams on this update, and it really sort of lets them down. So I think it's important to not expect too much out of it. Like, I don't think you should sort of pin your whole attitude towards Team Fortress 2 on this one update.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think, yes, it's good to be positive, it's kind of good to be negative, but you can't get your hopes up to the point where it's just going to be this god-tier update that fixes everything. The game's going to come perfect, it's going to come alive. Yeah. The update probably won't be that, like, but it's going to help, you got to be happy about it. Yeah,
definitely. Like, I think, I mean, Valve, like, the update was meant to come out months ago, wasn't it? Like, back when the voting finished or whatever, but, I mean, maybe, I think the positive way to look at this would be they've clearly taken a lot of time and preparation into this update, so it's something to look forward to, Maybe that's how we should be looking at it.
That's probably the better attitude, I'd say.
Let's hope it exceeds expectations.
Let's hope it pays off, yeah. Worth the wait. But as a game, TF2 is often argued as stale, and it's apparently a bit boring for a lot of people. As a trader, What would you say the game's like for you right now?
I mean, a lot of people don't really seem to acknowledge this, but for me personally, trading and playing are two completely different aspects. Like, me personally, I'm not the best player, and I fully acknowledge that, but it's because I've spent so many hours sort of sat in trade servers, it almost becomes not like a separate game, but it definitely does differentiate it completely from normal playing. So, I mean, trading, I don't think it's going to get to a point where trading will completely die out, unless of course like the keys carry on inflating and deflating at rapid rates. Then I mean, you know, I don't think trading is going to die out. I think trading, due to how many people are sort of trading, and as long as we don't get more collectors hoarding hundreds of unusuals, there's always going to be something like in the market. There's always going to be a want and a need for most items, which keeps trading alive.
I've always found it quite interesting that a free-to-play game like TF2 has spawned this entire massive like economy out of this free-to-play Valve game. I find it insane.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, there's hats worth several thousands of dollars, and like, you know, like items worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars in a game that's completely free to play and anyone can like pick up. So, I mean, when I guess you could think about it as a different aspect. I mean, you know, you're getting this free to play game and you're making money from it in a sense. So like, it's crazy. Like, it's really crazy to think about.
The first time you ever came into TF2, did you expect, yeah, maybe in a few years I'll cash out with a few grand out of this game?
No, I mean, I've cashed out, it must be over 1,000 in sort of keys and Australians and stuff like that, but you never expect it when you start playing. I mean, I started playing, you know, just your bog standard casual player, and I remember I went into a trade server, was sort of trading craft hats, and I saw an unusual. It was an unusual engineer's cap, and it inspired me to sort of start trading, and like, you know, I want to have a hat like that. That's a cool item. I want one of those, and that was the drive. That was always the drive for me, and like, that's sort of the thing with my videos. I hope that by showing my trades and like giving people information about hats, it almost inspires them to start trading. So
I think it's always good to have goals and to have that hype around. Yeah, I'm gonna get the best item in TF2. I'm gonna do that grind.
Yeah, 100%. It's always good to have something to work towards. Definitely.
Like, oh, I watched that PyroJoe video. He's got really new expensive unusual. I'm gonna get that one too. I'm gonna
like, if you're thinking to yourself like, oh, one day if it will be in like a month or a year, like I want to own that. That's the best mentality you can have when going into trading, because you've got that drive and that motivation to go out and really work for the hat you want. So yeah.
Of course, I think it's definitely it's what keeps the economy alive. It's what keeps people coming in and saying, yeah, I want to trade, I want to start doing this. It's that motivation behind it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's gotten to a point with me now where, I mean, I've got no real need to trade. I just do it because I find it enjoyable and I think it's exciting, and I don't think that appeal is going to wear off. I mean, I've been trading for what, 2-3 years now, and the appeal I don't think it's going to wear off anytime soon, because you can never beat the thrill of getting your hands on this new unusual or this new Australian that you've been working towards for like weeks or months. Like, it's so satisfying to finally get your hands on it.
That's got to be a lovely feeling, yeah.
Yes, it's like the best part about trading 100%, because it is very rewarding, like in the long run.
A lot of people who don't really play TF2, or they don't really play video games like TF2 or anything, and they see like these CSGO skins, they see these TF2 hats, and like, that's just a pixel on a screen, how can that be worth so much money? Like, yeah, it's really strange to think about.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do say that. It's like, oh, you're paying thousands of dollars for pixels in a game. But, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, I do agree, it is true. But I mean, it makes your character look cool, and it allows you to, in a very strange way, in a very same way, like the same concept as normal cosmetics, it does allow you to sort of express yourself and show to everyone else, you know, I worked for this. Like, I suppose that there is that sort of bragging rights to it. You know, I worked hard for this. I've put hours into trading. Here's my unusual, and everyone will see that. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit strange with trading, because people will see a good unusual and just assume that the player's, you know, incredible and like some sort of pro player. But I mean, that's such a common misconception, because as I said earlier, it's two completely different aspects of the game. You can be great at one and bad at the other. So yeah,
I think in a game like TF2, there's so many different communities, there's so many different things you can do. You could be a competitive player, you could be someone like you who just invests all their time into trading. It's just, I think it's so diverse,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. No matter like how experienced you are, you could always turn to trading. Like, even over the thousands of hours of playing, I think maybe competitive isn't for me. Maybe I should get into trading. And I think even if you're not a new player, even if you're experienced like me, and you think, yeah, maybe this looks kind of fun, that too keeps the economy alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people that have thought, like, as I said, like me years ago when I saw that first Unusual, there's always going to be people like that. Every day, I'd like to assume that there's at least one person that will see their first sort of Unusual hat and be like, damn, that's cool, I wonder how you get that, do a bit of research, and before you know it, they're spending all day in trade servers. Like, I think that's very much keeping the economy alive, all these new people coming into the game, or not necessarily just new people coming into the game, but new people who've played the game but haven't really traded before. It's just something to try that's different and refreshing. It's a completely like, I suppose you could compare it to something like rocket jumping, because it's something, you know, you haven't done before, but, you know, you want to learn kind of thing.
It's very unique to TF2, isn't it? Just the idea that you can build such an economy and start working for cash and money out of just virtual items. It's very strange.
It's intriguing, to say the least, because, I mean, you know, you want to learn about it, and you want to find out what's good and what's bad, and almost replicate that yourself. So I think that's very important about trading.
We were talking about these new players that come into the game and they say, wow, really cool, unusual, I want to get that. Would you say it's getting harder to start trading? Is it more difficult?
I mean, that's a good question, and it depends on what aspect you look at it at. I mean, look at it from, sorry. I mean, you have the aspects that, I mean, keys are rising, and there's no two ways about it. When I started trading, buds were buds were a currency. That was like the high tier currency. They were like 20, 21, 25 keys, maybe towards 30 at some point, and now they're worth like not even 2 keys. So there's never no like guarantee about an item that's going to keep its value, and I think that is like a hard aspect to foresee, because any item could just drop in price. And obviously the keys fluctuating, I mentioned that earlier. That, I mean, keys are what, like, I'll just take a quick look on backpack.tf. I know the price is so extortionate right now. I think it's close. 26.88 refined, and it's rising, and the reason it's rising is just because, I mean, there's people sort of quick buying for really high prices because they want a key, because it's like the go-to currency, and people will sell it to those people for refined, and there becomes less of a need for them, so the value goes up. It's a very strange concept, but you can normally look on backpack.tf at the buy orders and sell orders, and you know, it's such a contrast. It's very, very interesting indeed. Like, it's something definitely worth looking into. But if keys keep going up at the rate they are, and I think if they ever get above sort of 30, maybe 35 refined for one key, it will be near impossible to start off trading with nothing, which is a very worrying concept to me. Because, I mean, you know, one of the big things about trading back in the day, keys were like 5 refs, so you could like get a couple craft weapons together, craft a ref, buy a hat, like make a bit of profit, and before you know, you've got your first key, and that's when it starts escalating a lot quicker. But now to sort of start trading and making significant profit, it's better just to buy a couple keys, or to buy 8 keys and get straight into unusuals, because it's getting so difficult to trade with like scrap or ref. And that's really worrying, because it's getting to a point now where people need to invest money to start trading.
It's worrying. I think there's definitely been a massive change in the economy. You can see it in some of the past videos, like you and your Rags to Riches and Spiky Mikey and all the other trading YouTubers who made those older videos about building up from scrap. People seem to watch them now. It's like, keys were that cheap? What? They seem to look back. Like, it's insane.
If you watch... Yeah, like if you watch a trading series from several months, well, not even several months, like at least a year ago, it's a completely different, like almost a completely different economy, because the key prices are completely different now, and it's quite an odd concept to think about if you think, where will we be in a year's time from now in terms of keys? Will they just crash, or will they keep rising at the rate they are? It's quite worrying, definitely.
It's worrying for a market like TF2 that everything could suddenly drop, or everything's going to eventually die. It's a very morbid and worrying thing, but I think if we keep getting these new traders and these new people who keep want to trade, I think the game is going to keep going up in the economy, and hopefully it can stay alive.
Yeah, and as I said, like, people will start trading or have been trading for a while and have this goal in their head of this unusual they want to obtain, like a end game, or like a like, I suppose you could refer to it as an end game unusual, and that's important as well, because there's always going to be some sort of want for a certain unusual, and that's just purely because someone wants to use it. So as long as there is still a desire to buy a lot of unusuals, then I don't think that's a huge issue.
I definitely think if we keep getting people that are just, they're so desperate to grind and keep working hard, I think it will stay alive, because if you do have that determination, you can get far in trading. You just need to be patient and, and have that determination.
I mean, 100%. I've always thought to myself, I could start like a trading series where I try to get as many trades done in 24 hours, and just show people that it is possible to make like significant profit in a short amount of time. So I may do that very, very soon.
That'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah, like, as long as you have the initial like 8 keys or so to get that first quick sell and get you off the ground, then it's not an issue. Yeah,
I'm sure if you really do have that passion, you really do want to try hard, just get that unusual, no matter what it takes, and no matter how many trade servers you have to go to, I think you can get far. Like you've gotten so far with trading, you've gotten so much out of this free-to-play game. It just shows, if you do put in the passion, you do put in the effort, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, as I mentioned about the things like, where you see someone with a nice unusual, that drove me, like, seeing like a nice unusual combo. It'd be like, oh, one day I'll get there. And that's like one of the most important things. Like, one key thing I'd recommend to anyone starting trading would be to have a goal in mind, and to have like something you're working towards, even if it's in the back of your head and you're not really thinking about it consciously, to always have a goal, because that's the sort of motivation, and that's very important.
Of course, yeah. If you're setting your mind on that one thing and you don't want to do it, nothing's going to stop you from getting that one unusual, that one nice effect you want. Then even if the market does crash, even if the keys are going up, you can still do it. The economy might not be as good and as easy as it used to be, but if you still have that same passion, I think you can do it, even if the community and the economy is a bit off right now.
Yeah, as long as you have like the motivation and almost like the patience, I suppose you could say, because a big misconception about trading is that you can just hop in a trade server, make a ton of profit, and be done with it. Like, it really does take time, and you've got to wait for offers to roll in, or you've really got to spend time going out of your way to offer on other people's stuff. But you know, like, that's a huge misconception, and I think when people start to realise that you need to be patient and like find like the perfect deal, that's when you start to make the big profit, because you don't rush into trades, kind of thing. Yeah,
I think you really do have to have that perfect mindset to keep going. And people, as you've seen, they seem to get this misconception of videos when they see stuff like Rags to Riches, and they think, wow, he's just gotten 5 trades within 10 minutes. No, it takes hours, it takes effort, it takes days of patience.
Yeah, like, I mean, the Rags to Riches episodes, I mean, I've kind of stalled on them for the time being, but they would often take, if not weeks, to produce every single episode. So it's really not as simple as just like, it's a 5-minute video that took him 1 day. Like, it often, I mean, with Rags to Riches, I was just trying to make the best trades possible, so I really wasn't rushing into it.
Yeah.
But like, those trades were often taking weeks to find a good trade.
That's what people do really need to realise. In order to make it big in trading, just like you have, you can't just rush in. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go into a trade server, I'm going to get that one trade, I'm going to become rich. It's really not that easy.
Yeah. It's really not, like, at all. And a lot of, as I said, it's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. And I think that, along with, I think one big bit of advice that I could give to any trader if you're starting out with ref, or if you're starting out with keys, or if you're starting out with a golden pan, would be that not everyone sort of has a big desire to buy your item. So you can't just wait for offers to roll into you. You really need to be a proactive trader and get out there and get into trade servers and browse Outpost for a trade yourself. Because as I said, not everyone out there is going to be wanting to buy your 12 key unusual that there's like 5 others on the market of, and you really need to be able to find your own trades. So that's quite a big tip, I suppose you could say.
I think it's actually quite complicated for people, because you really do have to have that level of like street smarts in order to get those trades. To think, wow, do I really want to invest in this? Maybe I should invest in this, or maybe this unusual is a bit cheap right now. Maybe it'll go up. I think you do have to plan your trades. You have to be patient. You have to think, well, really, do I want to make this trade now, or should I make it in a few weeks' time if the unusual goes up? Is this unusual going to go up class? Is it? I think there's a lot of factors you have to keep in mind when you're going to start trading, and I think it can be quite complicated for people.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I've tried to help as many people as I can with all my guides, but there's a lot of aspects that are overlooked by people, and it's just the sheer fact of what makes an unusual desirable. And like, it's very, very overlooked, but a lot of people will sort of make a trade purely for the value and not think of the fact that their effect and their hat is much worse than yours, and it could potentially be overpriced. And like, people do definitely need to sort of learn that desirability of unusuals, definitely.
I think with videos like yours, where you teach people about trading, you introduce them to this whole new world of TF2, I think they're very important. I think you do a great job of getting these people into trading, getting into this side of TF2 and keeping it alive, because the amount of people that must see, wow, Bonzo virtual viewfinder? Oh my god, that's insane. How did he get up to that? Maybe I should watch some of his guides.
Yeah.
I think videos like yours really do get people in. They reel people into this side of TF2 and think, well, maybe I could do this too. Maybe I could try start doing this.
I mean, thank you. Another person I'd say, the Virtual Economist, makes absolutely incredible guides. He's so in-depth and explains everything so perfectly, to a point where he makes it seem as if anyone can do it, and he goes over every single aspect, and it's very, very important, I feel, if you're starting trading, to sort of educate yourself first on all these different aspects. And I'd say the perfect person for that would be, as I said, the Virtual Economist. He makes like these crazy in-depth guides and just covers every single aspect about trading, and it's very important to learn stuff like that. And I just hope with my channel to reach as many people as possible and educate them, and try to I mean, I've made 2 videos now of complete guides covering every single scam method in Team Fortress 2. And I mean, I've had so many people approach me in trade servers and say, look, like, I've had a lot of people try to scam me, and because of your videos, you know, I've still got this unusual. Or a lot of people coming up to me and saying, Joe, thanks for your help. Like, I've got this unusual that I've been trading towards for months, and like, that's very, very humbling for me, definitely. And it gives this whole thing a purpose, because it lets me know that I am helping people, you know?
I think YouTubers really do have to realise we do have quite a big impact on people. It might not seem like it. You 100%. Might want to be a bit humble, but you can have an impact on people's lives. And as you mentioned with the scammers, I think there is actually a darker side to trading, and I think that's what people need to know. That there are people who aren't so nice. You won't carry that same kind of determination and patience. They think, wow, I can play on someone else's misery, I can steal their items and run away with them. I think people do need to be educated about the good, exciting side of trading, with the determination and that patience you're going to have and grinding up to your unusual. But with videos like yours and the Virtual Economist and Spiky Mikey's talking about these people that try to scam people and try to do these evil and cruel things, I think people need to learn about that too. It's very important.
Yeah. I mean, that's another big aspect is, of course, it's almost inevitable when you start trading, you're going to run into these scammers. And it is important, because it's so disheartening to have traded for weeks or months and then just to lose it all in one trade, because you have a trust of someone that uses that and manipulates that to, like, get your item for free. And it's very important. Well, I feel it's very important to try and prevent that from happening, because I've seen it happen way too many times. And you know, like, people have added me with these God tier unboxes, Scorching Killer exclusive for one, and I've told them not to trade it without telling me, and they, like, you know, they get scammed, and it's so disheartening for me. And you know, I just feel like I do as much as I can to try and prevent that from happening.
That's really good, because no one wants to feel that. No one wants to grind out for months and months, as you said, and then just lose it all so quickly, so simply, just all down the drain. That's gonna be horrible to feel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me this actually, but I've personally been scammed once, and it wasn't on TF2, it was a CSGO trade. And it's a very common method in CSGO, on CSGO Lounge, which is essentially the TF2 outpost of CSGO. Someone just had like an Orpasm or field tested, and they said they wanted these like cheaper skins on the right hand side. So I was like, oh, bargain, I'll pick myself up a bit of profit there, get a nice AWP skin. Sent the trade offer, saw the Orpasm in his inventory, added it, sent the trade out, and I realised once he accepts the trade, the Orpasm that I offered on was indeed battle scarred. So, you know, I only lost about £7 in value, but it's so disheartening, and I hated feeling like, because you start to blame yourself, and you start to think like, oh, I'm so stupid, you know, I got scammed, and it's such a horrible feeling, and I wish to prevent as many people feeling that as I did. So
would you say it's like a motivation for you to keep doing these kind of videos and to educate people so they don't feel that same kind of loss and that same kind of feel of disappointment? I think
definitely, yeah.
No matter how much you're losing, obviously if you're losing thousands or hundreds of keys, it's going to be obviously very disheartening, but I think it also, to the extent personally, if you lose a small amount, it still sucks. As you said, you start to blame yourself, you start to feel, why did I fall for that? That's so stupid. But in reality, it happens. It's going to be difficult to do, and that's why we need people like you educating these people to say, maybe you shouldn't do that trade. Always check, be smart, be street smart about your trades and what you're doing. Yeah, that's very important.
Well, I mean, I've been sort of I've been given a platform where I can reach at the moment like 25,000 people potentially with one video. So you know, like, when I'm given a platform like that, it's important for me to sort of reach out as far as I can and help as many people as possible in one video, because when you make a video, you never know how many people are going to see it. Yeah. So I could make a scam prevention video that only 5 people see, but I know in my head that that's 5 people that I've almost educated, and 5 potential scams that I've sort of prevented. So it's important. I don't think the subs or like, you know, the subs are important,
of course, yeah,
but knowing that I'm preventing stuff, like, it's a good feeling for me, definitely.
I mean, it's just similar to me when I make these stolen art videos and try to prevent these people from having their art stolen.
I have been watching those, actually.
Thank you.
I have been watching those. I really like the editing on those, by the way. You do a really good job on that.
It's just,
that's all right.
It's nice knowing that no matter how many people you reach, it's just that nice feeling of saying, maybe that's one less person who's going to get scammed. That's one less person who's going to feel that horrible feeling. It's just nice to know you've made a change. You've made that kind of change to someone, or many people. It depends.
Yeah, and I feel that's very important. A very important thing to think about if you are sort of picking up YouTube. It's that you shouldn't really get wrapped up in the analytics and the views and the subs, and you should focus on the core thing of, I mean, in my case, it's trying to help people, and I want to help as many people as possible. But even if I only help, you know, 5 people with one video, I still know in the back of my head that I've done what I can, kind of thing, and it's good. That's a good.
That's really that's the personality we need. That's the kind of motivation we need to do YouTube. Because I see way too many people going into YouTube thinking, "Wow, I'm just gonna make one video. I'm gonna get famous. I'm gonna start getting money." It's really not the mindset you need. You need that kind of mindset like you have. Like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna change something. I'm gonna be that force of change. I'm gonna help someone. I think it's very important.
Yeah, of course. I feel like a lot of people don't really show this, but you need to enjoy it, because otherwise it will show. If you're a YouTuber making content just for the sake of it, or just for the money, or just for the views, or just for the subs, it really does show. And, you know, it gets to a point where you can hear the lack of enthusiasm, or you can hear sort of like the lack of effort, or see the lack of effort, and it's kind of disheartening for another YouTuber like me to watch that and see like, damn, it's obvious he's not really trying anymore. So as a YouTuber, it's very important to have that want and that enjoyment for making videos.
Of course, and I think it's better to have that motivations, like helping people instead of just money and the numbers and the views, because in the end, what's gonna count more? Maybe 1 million people saw your video, but what if 1,000 people saw, and then a few of those 1,000 people were prevented from doing something bad, or had something bad prevented from happening to them? I'm sure the second one's gonna feel a lot better.
Yeah, or picture the situation, like 1 million views on a video that has no real purpose, and it's just pure like clickbait, sort of garbage content, or like 1,000 views on something that actually helps people, and you know in the back of your head that there's people that have actually benefited from your video, and you've actually helped. Like I'd prefer the second one any day, just purely because, you know, it's I can't think of a lot of things that beat that, knowing that there's people out there that, you know who I am and like thank me for helping them, kind of thing.
I definitely think it's very, very important to people. Like, knowing you hold that force for change, you're making that kind of difference in a community like TF2. I think it's very important. But to know that you are that change, you are that person preventing these bad things, I think that feels very nice. That must feel very satisfying for you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the same with you. I mean, shedding the spotlight on people out there that are clearly doing bad things and taking credit for other people's artwork. It must feel good to actually be able to expose them and say, hey, he's not doing this artwork, it's not his. You know, like, don't buy his stuff, or don't like believe what he's saying. Like, I think that's a very similar concept, in fact, to mine. I
think it's actually quite similar between scammers in trading and then the artwork stealers in the artwork community, because in the end, you're stealing someone's hard work, no matter whether it's a hat or a beautiful drawing or a painting, whatever. You're stealing someone's work that they put hard effort into, they tried to do a good thing with, and you just took it from them. In the end, you're a scumbag, because you're making someone's life worse to benefit yourself. I don't think it's not good motivation for anything, really.
It's not, and like, I think with every community, there's going to be something very similar. Like, I mean, TF2, you have sort of like the scammers or the hackers that have no sort of remorse, and I think that's important to remember, that there are people like that, and it's important for people like me and you to almost expose these people, or like try and prevent this from affecting a wider audience.
Definitely, yeah. If we can do anything to prevent it, as you said, numbers don't matter, but if you could do the tiniest thing to prevent that one person from having their artwork stolen, or anything, I think it does a massive change. I think it's what we need in this community. More people that can definitely protect these people from bad things happening.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
We're talking about numbers with YouTube. You've recently dropped out of college.
I have, yes.
It's a quite controversial topic in the community right now. It's quite hot.
Definitely.
How do you feel about it?
A lot of mixed opinions about it, and I mean, I'll just give a quick sort of rundown of the situation for those of you guys on Doomsday's channel that don't sort of know. I was in my second year of A-levels. I'm not really too sure how college works sort of around the world, but I'd recently graduated from school and was in college, and I was in my second year, as I said, of A-levels, and I just decided that A-levels weren't sort of doing it for me. Like, I've never had any intentions of using A-levels to go on to uni, or I've never had any intentions of getting a job that's sort of higher up. I would be completely content with working in like Tesco or Lidl for the rest of my life, kind of thing. Like, and I was in a situation where I would be getting like 3 to 4 hours sleep a day, because I would be up hours editing and recording videos, and it was getting to a point where it was almost affecting my college work, and I decided that I'm not actually going to use these A-levels that I'm doing. They're not useful to me at all. So I just said, you know what, I'm making enough money off of YouTube to pay rent and sort of live, like, maintain a suitable lifestyle, that I should just do it, because I felt almost as if I was wasting my time in college. And that, I'm not recommending doing this at all. I'm not saying, hey guys, if you're not enjoying college, just drop out, because that's definitely not the best thing to do. But in my scenario, it wasn't helping me. I was wasting my time there. It was almost pointless me being there, because I know for facts that I could be at home doing something much more productive and much more useful in making videos. So I just decided to leave.
I think it's definitely important to enjoy what you're doing, and yeah, I understand school isn't fun. No one really enjoys school, but
it's important. It's very important. But a lot of people seem to overlook the fact that I already have qualifications.
Of course, yeah.
So I already have all my GCSEs and my first year of A-levels under my belt and on my CV if needed. So it's not like I've left with no education whatsoever. I have like more than enough sort of grades to secure a job in my area if needed.
You seem to be quite confident about the whole ordeal. Are you happy with your decision? Do you think you've made the long-term good decision?
I mean, I guess you kind of have to be confident, otherwise, when you start doubting yourself, that's when things are going to start going downhill in this sort of situation. And of course, in the long run, 5-10 years, YouTube might not even be a site anymore.
That's true.
But I know for a fact that if I failed my A-levels, which was likely because I really wasn't doing too well, and I'd just wasted an entire year at college that I'd have to resit anyway, when I could have been at home doing what I love for a living, like, I would be kicking myself. And I felt it was almost important to allow myself to, as I said, do what I love doing for a living. And I'm forever grateful that I've been in a situation where I can do that. So, I mean, in the long run, it might not be the best idea. As I said, like the YouTube recent ad crisis that's been going on. I mean, I've not noticed a huge difference in my sort of analytics, but of course, people like Keemstar blowing it way out of proportion as always. So, I mean, yeah, like, there's no guarantee of YouTube. No one signs up to YouTube with a guarantee that this is going to be a sustainable lifestyle and it's going to give you like a guaranteed income. But as I said, I'd be kicking myself if I was in a situation where I could have done it, but I didn't, and I just wasted an entire year failing college. Yeah. I
think even with this, let's say this ad crisis is actually awful. World War III breaks out, everything's over. And in 2 years down the line, YouTube is dead. Your channel's dead, everyone's channels are dead. Everything went wrong for some reason. But you still got that fact, you knew you made that change. You made a change in a community, you made people's days happier, you made people smile, you inspired people. I think that's a lot better feeling.
Like, I mean, I make daily videos, and I can't think of anything more rewarding than people saying, like, Joe, I look forward to watching your videos every day, because I've never really been the sort of person to go out and do loads of social activities. I used to spend all day watching YouTube videos. I'd be waiting for people's daily videos, like channels like, Achievement Hunter, Funhouse, stuff like that. Like, I loved the concept of being able to rely on them for a video to watch every single day, and to know that I can do that to people and like entertain them and give them something to watch every single day it's just amazing, because that's how I feel. Like, if I ever got an opportunity to meet the people that I watch, I'd probably be saying the exact same things that I'm hearing, which is just an amazing feeling.
It must be quite strange to look back at everything you've done, like, even with that scenario where everything is dead and everything's gone wrong, you're able to look back and you say, wow, I really did achieve something. I made that one guy's day happier. I've reached out to thousands of people. I've done something important.
Yeah, I don't... Even if YouTube... If I woke up tomorrow and Google had disbanded YouTube due to it being so broken or whatever, I wouldn't have any regrets due to the fact I know I can get a job in my area, I've had a good time, I've entertained people, I've educated people, and I've put my platform to good use, and that's the outlook I'd have, I think.
That's definitely an important outlook to have on, well, life as a whole, is to have that optimistic attitude to say, yeah, I've done something. No matter what happens, I'm happy with what I've done, I've achieved something, I've made people's days better. Even if I don't have these grades that I need, or the grades people keep telling me that I need, I've done something. I really have made an achievement.
We're in a society today where it's drilled into our heads from an extremely young age that there's this very sort of... there's this mould that we're meant to do. We're meant to go to primary school, do our SATs test, go to secondary school, pass our GCSEs, go to college, do our A-levels, go to uni, and get a job as a doctor for the rest of your life. And and you know, it's not always the same, but it's a very similar concept that's replicated throughout every single school, I'm sure, in the world, where you're meant to go, grow up, get a job, and spend the rest of your life doing that. And I feel like it's important that if it's not something you're comfortable doing, or it's not something you're like passionate about, or you don't see yourself using these grades, that it's important to sort of just think to yourself, like, you know, would I be better off on another course or something like that? And in my situation, it was just, I would be better off doing what I love. And as long as you don't have any regrets about what you're doing, and you're 100% sure there's, you know, I don't see it being a bad issue at all. I mean, as I said, dropping out of college, very controversial.
Of course, yeah.
But as long as deep down I know that it's something I'm not going to regret, and it's something that I'm pleased that I did, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, really, I think knowing that what you've done is the right decision, knowing it's going to make you happier as a whole, is really important. No matter what else people think, they can't really dictate how you feel. They can't dictate what your motivation and what your determination is. If you don't think A-levels are right for you, as you said, then maybe YouTube's the right path for you. Maybe that's making you happier, because in the end, your happiness is a lot more important than a few grades on a sheet, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would much rather be financially worse off, and I mean, I could say poor. Like, I'd much rather be poor but doing something that I love for a living, than be rich and just doing something and waking up every day and going to a job that I hate, and I'm only doing it because it's what I've got qualifications to do. Like, I think it's so important in life to just do what you enjoy.
Yeah, no matter what it is, whether it's trading, whether it's making artwork, whether it's doing YouTube, I think you do have to be excited to do it. You have to wake up every morning and say, yeah, I'm gonna do that one thing that I love, and that's gonna make me happy. You don't want to wake up every morning saying, oh, gotta go to that job, gotta go do that thing. It's not gonna be enjoyable.
Yeah, like, as if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you've got to sort of ask yourself, why am I doing this? And like, it got to a point in college where I was like, you know, I'm not enjoying this, I'm going to fail regardless. Why am I not at home making videos like I'm passionate about? And yeah, I just decided to make the final jump.
It's got to be an infuriating feeling knowing that you could be doing something better with your time, but you're not. I think in the end you really did make the decision. If you were feeling like that, and if you think college isn't really right for me, it's not really having a positive impact on my life, it's actually having the opposite. When you've got that positive thing, you've got YouTube, which is making you happy, it's making other people happy. I think that's definitely the right path to go down. Even if it is controversial, even if people don't agree, that's okay, because it's your decision in the end, it's what you want to do, it's what makes you happy.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a firm believer that I won't allow myself to be influenced by other people's opinions. As long as I'm happy, as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, then I shouldn't really be influenced at all by what someone else tells me I should be doing, or what someone else thinks I should be doing. As long as, you know, and I feel like that's a good philosophy to have, to just do what you want and not be influenced by others. And that can be applied to anything, whether that's, you know, doing a certain sport that could be considered out of the ordinary, or like, you know, wearing certain types of clothes. As long as you're happy and comfortable, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone else
I think in
thinks.
the end, no matter what you're doing in life, as you said, I think happiness is the most important thing. It does drive the world go round. It does keep all of us going. We all want to be happy. We want to be satisfied with what we're doing. And maybe if you're not feeling right with what you're doing, it's not right. It's not the right thing to be doing.
Yeah.
Maybe you should stop.
Even if you're told it's what you should be doing, and you deep down know it isn't, or like it's not what you enjoy, then it's important just to not be swayed by other people's opinions.
I definitely think it's important to have your own opinion, because with something like dropping out of college, people are going to say, why are you doing that? That's so reckless. What are you trying to do? That's so stupid. But in the end, it's your decision. It's what you're doing. It doesn't really matter what other people think.
Yeah, like, it's not like it's hurting other people.
No, of course.
At all. It's not like it's, you know, it's people are choosing to get offended or choosing to get involved when realistically it doesn't concern them at all, kind of thing. So, as I know, I wasn't hurting anyone by dropping out of college. Like, it's a decision that's purely mine, and it doesn't involve anyone else. Like, if I knew I was going to drop out of college and you know, everyone in my class would fail their grades if I dropped out or something like that, then, you know, I'd understand that. But no, like, it's something that doesn't influence anyone else other than myself.
Of course, yeah, it's your own decision. I think you really do have to be independent with something like this and just think, is this the best for me? I think it is. I might as well just take the jump. Because imagine if you didn't, maybe if you did fail your A-levels, God forbid, that wouldn't feel very good, as you said. It would suck to know that you could have been doing something so much better with your time, but you wasted it on this.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there, definitely.
I think there's a lack of understanding with people too. The people in your YouTube comments, I remember when the video came out and you announced it, because you've been speaking about this for quite a while and your decision with it. But I remember when you revealed it to the public.
Yeah, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was not.
People seem to think, so, well, you woke up one day, it's like, I don't really want to go into college today. I'm going to make a video saying I'm dropping out. No. I remember you speaking to, like, the community about it privately, like, months before. Like, it was a very, like, long-term decision. You did put thought into it, which I don't think people realise. It's a big decision, yeah, but it wasn't reckless at all. Because you thought about it, you went in depth, you thought, is this right for me? Is this going to be good in the long run? Is this going to benefit me now? I think people seem to understate how much effort you put into the decision.
Yeah, as I said, it's not spur of the moment at all. It wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, I'm dropping out of college. No, I'd put weeks of thought into it. Like, I just thought it's the best for myself, and as I said, like, I'd thought for so long about it, and it wasn't an impulse thing at all, like a lot of people assumed it was. And I just wanted to get my story out there for the people that were misinformed and started to judge me for something they weren't really sure on themselves.
I think on a similar level to your trading videos, it's highly unlikely that anyone is in the exact same situation where they've got thousands of subscribers on YouTube and they're in college, they're not enjoying it. They're not going to really watch your video and say, yeah, I'm going to do the exact same, I'm going to drop out of college. But to a metaphorical level, when they think, well, he's doing something he's happy about and he had something he's not happy about, maybe I should move on. People might see that and think, well, maybe I should make a similar decision. Maybe I should drop this one thing that's holding me back so I can do something that makes me happy.
Yeah, like, that wasn't the intention at all, but I can definitely, I can see what you mean, and that's true. I mean, if there is something in your life that's toxic and making you unhappy, and I suppose watching that and hearing about what I said could sort of make you decide to make that final push and just say, it's not making me happy, sort of like it shouldn't be in my life.
I think it can go for everything, whether it's playing a game, making YouTube videos, or if it's a relationship with someone, or school, or whatever it is. If it's not making you happy, you have to consider why you're doing it and what's it doing for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely very important for people. But I think in a game like TF2, bringing this back to TF2 as a game, with people like Muselk who are dropping out, and people like Mr. Paladin who are dropping out of TF2 as much and playing a bit more Overwatch and other games. God forbid I mention Overwatch in this video. But
instant dislikes now.
I think the thing is, with these TF2 YouTubers like Muselk, who's been playing the game for what, 4 or 5 years and making videos about it?
Yeah.
I don't think people realise that making videos is tough. It does take a lot of effort to get that motivation, and
yeah, and as much as I sort of knock Muselk or make subtle jokes about it, I completely understand. He'd almost grown tired of making TF2 videos, which, as you said, he's been doing it for years. It's completely understandable. So if he does decide that it's not for him anymore and he enjoys making Overwatch videos more, and almost TF2 just wasn't fun for him, then, you know, I completely respect that.
Yeah, of course, you need to be enjoying what you're doing. You can't just stay in YouTube for the money or for the fame. You have to enjoy it, otherwise, as you said earlier, you can tell. You can definitely tell when someone's not enjoying it. 100%. You can tell, yeah, they really don't like doing this, you know. And I think, if you feel that the game or whatever you're making, the game you're making videos about maybe isn't right for you, no matter what your audience is yelling at you, which I, again, do think is kind of ridiculous, that someone like Muselk is getting so much shit for for not playing that same game as he used to anymore is kind of ridiculous to me, but I think it's his decision. Is it going to benefit him, even if it's just leaving the game? If it's having a negative effect, is it worth it? Is it really worth it?
I mean, if you even so much as bring up Muselk's name in anything TF2 orientated, you're going to be greeted by about 100 people with pitchforks and like torches ready to completely destroy anything you say about him, just purely because he was this big figure in Team Fortress 2 that left. But like, people don't respect the fact that he'd been doing it for so long and he just simply didn't enjoy it anymore. And I understand, like, he was such a big figure and stuff, but it's important to, as we said earlier, like, just if something's not making you happy, don't force yourself to do it. Like, don't force yourself to be making these Team Fortress 2 videos when it's just not what you're into anymore. And I completely respect that.
I think, it's very important to enjoy what you're doing, because it's not going to have, like, personally, it's not going to have a great effect on you. If you're, like, waking up every morning, got to play TF2, got to make a tryhards Tuesday, whatever it is, and you really don't want to do it, why are you doing it? You know, no matter what the YouTube comments are telling you.
Yeah, that's...
Like, if you're feeling, maybe I really don't enjoy TF2 as much as I used to, and yeah, you might get a lot of shit for it, you might get moaned at by the TF2 community, but in the end, that doesn't really matter in comparison. Because people like Muselk get so much shit. There's no point in doing...
I know, like, but there's no point in him doing something to make other people happy if it's not making himself happy. So even if he does lose the respect of thousands of people by stopping playing it, then, you know, that's fair enough, and it's his decision to do that.
I definitely think that it's very important to have motivation, to have that urge to do something, whether it's making you happy, whether it's doing YouTube like we're talking about, or trading, or playing TF2, or whatever it is. You do have to have motivation, because without it, you're not really going to get that far.
No. Yeah, like, you're not going... There's only a certain amount you can do before it gets to a point where you just sort of ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then if you start forcing yourself to do it, that's when it all starts going a bit downhill. Yeah.
You really do have to enjoy things to enjoy them. They have to make you happy.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no point in doing
I've had countless debates and arguments with people who loved Muselk's videos, for example, but then they can't seem to handle that, God forbid, he doesn't enjoy playing that same Valve game for 5 years that barely gets updated and has a pretty kind of toxic community at the moment. Like, can you really blame him for wanting to play something else?
You can't.
I don't think people seem to realise that when you start spamming someone's comments saying, why are you making this content? We want this content. Riots, dislike.
Yeah, like, when he initially branched out, he received so much hate, and like, a lot of people didn't think, like, if you receive hate on a video, it's not going to be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to make TF2 videos forever. It's going to make you realise, damn, this community is sort of very toxic. I should probably get out.
Yeah, of course. This is a point I've actually made in a video before, but when do you ever see Overwatch players start screaming on TF2 videos that this is TF2 and TF2 shouldn't be allowed to have videos made about it? Like, I love both games, personally. I've played both, I love them both. I've put hours into both games, but I think people really realise that they're just games. It's not... In the end...
it's not that deep at all. It's just video games at the end of the day, and I don't see the need for them to be compared at all. I don't understand why they're constantly compared and contrasted and are seen as two rivals. People can enjoy whatever they want, whether that be Overwatch or whether that be TF2, and you can't force someone to enjoy the other one.
I think if you enjoy TF2, that's okay. Go enjoy TF2, that's fine. You enjoy Overwatch, that's great. Go enjoy Overwatch. You enjoyed both, like me. Well, you got the best of both worlds. Nothing to complain about.
And you shouldn't be receiving hate from other people.
Of course, it's just a game in the end. It's just a video game that you play to have fun. You know, no one should really be giving you shit for playing a game you enjoy.
But I think one thing that's important to remember is it's not just the TF2 community that's like this. Obviously, there's things like Call of Duty and Battlefield, or there's things like FIFA and PES. Like, there's always going to be in-game rivalry.
Yeah.
I just don't think it should.
I don't think it
exist,
should
really.
be as important to people that their game has to be better, and no one can make that video anymore because it's on a certain game that they don't enjoy, because really, does it matter? I understand you might not like this content, but like, as we said so many times now, it's just, if you don't enjoy it, why do it? I think it's very...
Yeah, that's like the moral of this podcast is that.
Yeah, in order to do everything, you need to have motivation, because without it, what are you doing? Where are you going? You can't really do anything without this motivation and that determination.
There's no point in playing a game just for the sake of it, you know? Like, you've got to be enjoying it.
Like, what's the point in playing a video game which is literally designed to make you happy and to relieve the stress of everyday life if you're not enjoying it?
Yeah.
Like, that's its only purpose.
It's, you know, it's created for enjoyment and entertainment, and if it's not doing either of those, then you're just wasting your time.
I don't think that's I think it's very important to enjoy what you're doing and to enjoy doing this thing, because if you're not, then don't do it. If you do, keep going on, keep doing it. You can do that. I think
that's it.
Yeah,
simple as that.
I think it's horrifying to see, with obviously the rivalry between TF2 and Overwatch. Is fine if you don't like one of them, that's okay. But please don't go give someone shit.
But you don't need to. Yeah, like, it's completely fine for you to have your own opinion, like, if you don't like a certain game, but when you start going out of your way to knock people that do like that game, that's when it becomes a bit of like a no-go, so to speak. Like, that's when you start to become more of a dickhead, basically, to put it bluntly.
That's very true.
Like, when you start knocking people for their opinions on something that you don't have, like, that's I don't agree with that.
I think people should be left to their own devices. And again, with the college thing, I think you must have gotten so many people saying you shouldn't be doing this, and that's their opinion. Maybe in their opinion, if they were in your situation, they'll make a different decision. But in the end, it's not them. It's not them making that decision. It's you.
Exactly.
It's the same with games. It's the same with opinions. It's in the end, it's their opinion, not yours. It's not your job to change their opinion, because it's them. Opinions are what kind of makes us. It's fine if you have a different one, but please don't shove it down someone's throat. It's just...
Yeah, that's, like, so important. Just not force your opinions and your mindset down on someone else, and just let them do what they want, and you do you.
Yeah, definitely, that's very, very important. Well, I think that's good enough to close this interview in this podcast today. Thank you for coming on, Joe. It was very, very enjoyable to talk to you.
No worries. Thank you for having me. We
went from trading virtual hats to very deep life lessons. That was very interesting.
That's the moral. The moral of this podcast is it's just you know, don't. I don't know, there's loads of morals, actually. There was loads of different things we covered. But no, definitely, thank you for having me on. I think it's a really cool concept you've got going here.
It was really nice to have you.
And I can't wait to see it
Thanks,
up.
dude.
No worries. Ooh. Wait, have you stopped recording?